books and all the work.
Go ahead, Whit.
I mean, it can be done either way, where you're...
I just majestic, but it's eerie.
50s, so they're very old, but well, I'll take that.
So trees are 40 foot high to the ground.
Down through Fayette County and come
Whatever, because, you know, raining house subjects or whatever, because, you know.
They're focused on EVPs.
The eyes of a cat. Who knows what that?
witch doctor. Usually they're
A self-described witch, and
Hey folks, good evening. Welcome to another episode of Fams and Monsters Radio, where we explore the strange and the unexplained. I'm your host, Lon Strickler. Thanks for joining me. Now, if you enjoy our content, then please subscribe, like, and share our presentations. And please feel free to comment as well. Super Chat is open during the show, so please show your support by clicking the dollar icon underneath the chat. You can also support the channel by using the super thanks icon, or either buy me a coffee link as well, so your consideration is needed and appreciated. Now, we're waiting for my guest. She hasn't shown up yet. I don't know if she's going to show up. I think she's trying to get in. So before we even do anything with that, if you've got, I decided to go ahead and do a question and answer session if until she comes in here. So if there's anything that's on your mind, just go ahead and put it up in the chat and we'll go from there. And I'll go ahead and answer the best I can. First of all, I'm going to announce that Vincent's show is not going to be going on tonight. It's been canceled. He's got some issues, and so Vince is not even with me tonight. Bill's filling in. I appreciate that. So so if there's anything you want to talk about, anything that's happened in the paranormal, anything new in, just like this UFO balloon connection and shooting down thing, that's the biggest thing in the news right now. And quite frankly, I don't know what to think about all that. I did post a few things today on the blog, so if you go to famsmonsters.com, we've got a lot of that up there. Some speculation, some stories that have been sent to me. But like I said, and anything else you want to talk about, we can do that. I have been posting a few odd things, so I guess we can talk about some of this stuff. Been a lot, like I said, been a lot of UFO activity. I think because of all this stuff in the news, people are kind of looking up in the sky. I've been getting a bunch of reports from people, but yeah. Okay, Bernadette asks, what are your thoughts on the angel found in Russia? The angel found in Russia. Okay, now I haven't heard that. Can you kind of expound on that so I can give you, I haven't even heard anything about that. Until that, David Jones Logger asked, do you think you ever encountered a reptilian? I don't think I have. Of course, being involved with David Eckhart's case, I've probably been known to them, well, I know I have been known to them. But as far as actually having an encounter with one, I can't say that I have. And if I did, it's inadvertent. I don't remember it, or it was, or knew that they were around me. David had mentioned in the past that they do cloak. So, it may have been. I've had encounters. I am an experiencer. I do have at least one abduction that I do know of. But as far as encountering a reptilian, I can't say that I have. So Marla wants to know your take on what the objects are that are shot down. I believe that they're innocuous. I don't think they're interplanetary craft or that. But then again, they're not really telling us a whole bunch. The fact that so many of them showed up all of a sudden and people are seeing them, and they're coming in all different sizes and stuff, as opposed to the original one, I don't know. I wish I did know. I'm kind of like, I'm kind of put in a position where it's hard for me to understand what's really going on. So, well, I'm going to go. I think Brenda's in here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and read her bio. Brenda Harris is Native American and resides in Upper Fruitland, New Mexico, in the Diné Navajo Nation. She has conducted Bigfoot investigation and research for 30 plus years. She has also started the New Mexico Shadow Seekers team, and you can find them on Facebook. Brenda has been interviewed on several radio shows, has appeared on Monsters and Mysteries in America and Finding Bigfoot TV series on 2 occasions. She has also appeared on Ghost Adventures and Unsolved Mysteries. Now, she encourages all who enter the woods and the domain of the Bigfoot to always remain vigilant and careful. So, Brenda, thank you for joining me this evening.
Hey.
There you are.
Hello. Hi. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you fine. So how you been?
I'm okay. I'm good. I was sorry I'm late. I was trying to get in and I was having a little bit of issues here.
Well, you're in. That's the important thing. So I know, I have kind of kept in contact with you off and on for years. Even when I was working a bit with JC and a few other people in the area, the Four Corners area. Can you give me a thumbnail what you've been involved with, what your team has been involved with over the years?
Doing a lot of Bigfoot investigations throughout on the reservation here in the area where I live, like in Upper Fruitland, Shiprock, Hogback, the Lukachikai Mountains in Arizona, Whiskey Lake area, all up towards the Arizona side. Not only that, but other things that have been roaming around in the area. Something what they call maybe a chupacabra. Also with a dogman. Different little things that are roaming around out here. I've been checking into quite a bit. So, but since this COVID thing, everything's been put on hold until it's okay to go back out. Here on the reservation for the past probably going on 3 years. Haven't really done anything because everybody's told to stay put. Don't be going out and going to people's houses or stuff like that because of COVID, and that's the reason why. I haven't really posted anything. Not only that, but also been dealing with my taking care of my husband who's been ill with colon cancer and stuff like that. So
sorry to hear
just
that.
been taking care of him. So and then I had to put things back on the burner again for a while. Yeah. So everything as of right now is so far good. Thank the Lord. Yeah. So now I can start going back out and doing some more field work, checking into more sightings and stuff that's going on in different areas here.
So, I used to talk, like I said, I used to talk to JC a lot when he was there at the reservation, and he was looking into things. And occasionally I would talk to you. I would talk to some of the other guys and people that were on the reservation, had encounters and such. But what the Bigfoot in general, what is so distinctive about, and I don't know if they call them the furry ones with you. I know many of the indigenous people there would refer to them, to me, as the furry ones, but they do seem to be live very closely with the people, and for the most part. What is your assessment on that? Does it seem to be a relationship between the people and these creatures more so there than in other places?
Well, I wouldn't say like being like a friendly relationship
Right.
or anything like that, but it's more of a lot of people are kind of afraid still.
Mhm.
Some, a lot of them are just, they just leave it alone, which is something, that we're all told to do.
Right.
Just, let it, roam, wherever it needs to go, let it go, don't bother it, it won't bother you. But in a lot of cases, though, a lot of what's been coming through here, like right now, a lot of them are hungry. We have, I believe, a family of, let's see, I guess you could say the male, female, and the young one that's together traveling through here. And just recently, it had killed a family's chicken. Oh, I think it killed all their chickens. I'm not quite sure. Maybe I think they said between 5 and 7 chickens that were killed in one night. So the family
Oh,
was, really upset with that, and they're hungry.
yeah.
They're looking for food. So it's usually about this time is when they start doing stuff like that. After all the harvest is done, and then there's no more food, so now they start going for going after small animals and stuff. But a lot of the people, especially this family, they were pretty upset about it, and so now, they're really keeping an eye on their stuff. And of course, I tell them, different ones that, a lot of the families, hey, put some light up, put cameras up, because they don't like cameras. They'll go
Right.
elsewhere a lot of the times. So a lot of the people, they don't like it around, because of it always attacking their livestock and stuff like that. Or not only that, or they'll hit the side of the home or tap the windows. And so a lot of people, they get scared. Like, what does it want? What's it doing here? Majority of the time is that they're curious. But like I said, as of right now, they're hungry. So now they're going to be going after livestock, try to get what they can, because they're hungry.
Right. Um, do they, do these individuals or even family groups seem to migrate in certain areas, either there, I mean, in New Mexico or over in Arizona? Are there certain areas where they go to at certain times a year?
Well, the ones that I've been kind of keeping an eye on, they seem to hang around down at the river, the San Juan River.
San Juan River, yeah.
Yeah. So there's a family, not only just that family I'm talking about. There's another. I think it was another two that's hanging around more in my area, which is one that I've noticed. It come down to one. So we got one, like a family of them hanging in between Shiprock and the Hallback area.
Mm-hmm.
To my area is like one or two. There was a one that was yelling last month along on the south side of our home, on the little mesa. They're heading towards east, and it was really yelling, and that was about midnight when it was screaming. So they move around a lot along the rivers. Um,
Yeah.
A lot of them still hang up out, of course, out in the mountains, and they have caves up that way, where they stay in. So, but along the river, there's I believe there's some areas that have maybe some small caves that they hide in, or so that's where they bunker down in quite a bit. So a lot of people have seen it down at the river, not only along the San Juan River, but also along the Animas River, which is more towards Farmington, New Mexico area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if people realize how big the Navajo Nation is actually. I mean, I guess most of it is actually in Arizona, but it's a huge reservation. I mean,
Oh yeah,
it's
it's huge.
uh,
It's a lot of area to um, go looking. If you want to investigate, not only Bigfoot, but different other creatures that's roaming around in those areas. It's huge, huge area. It would take a lot of time to check out those areas out that way in Arizona. There's just so rugged areas, to
yeah.
get into. You can't. Maybe you can get in there. You can get in there through or riding a horse, but a lot of it would be do a lot of walking.
Right. Now you mentioned the chupacabra. What was that all about?
That was back in 2009 or 2010. Let me see here. Maybe the latter part of 2009 is when I had gotten a call, from the chapter house here. I had two grandmas that were asking for me and crying and stuff, and wanting me to come to their home because they had lost some sheep. And I get there, they're all, in tears, like I said, and they told me that what they were thinking, what killed their sheep was a Bigfoot.
Right.
And so when I went back to their home, they showed me what had happened, and they showed me pictures of what happened to their sheep. And what I came upon was like a punctured hole in the neck, a slit, like a surgical slit. Remind me about, so small, about that small on the side. And it's crazy. Just that little slit there, a lot of their insides was hanging out. None of that was touched at all. All the blood was sucked out. And usually,
Right.
a Bigfoot usually doesn't do that. This is something else, I mean, all the blood was sucked out. And usually, when a Bigfoot kills a sheep like that, they usually just rip right into it and kind of shred it up, just
Mm-hmm.
break their legs and all of that, and then kind of tear it to pieces. But this one was totally different. When I walked around the family's home, I didn't find no Bigfoot print. I found a lot of scratches on the corral, and whatever uh, did that, what kind of thing that it was a chupacabra. But I don't know if it was. It's got to be a huge chupacabra that did
Yeah.
this. So I had to tell, because the grandma, they were asking, can you just kill it? They're asking me to kill Bigfoot because of killing their livestock.
Yeah.
And what do I say? So I told her, let's get some light up, and I'll put some cameras up, and I'll keep checking. And I said, I don't think this is a Bigfoot. This is something else that is killing a lot of your sheep. So the following week, I had one of our church members came up to me and asked me to come to their home, and I have something to show you. I really need you to come over. I said, okay. So I believe it was my brother and I, after church, we headed over to her home. And she showed me they had a ram that weighed anywhere, I believe, 300 to 400 pound ram. It's a huge ram.
Mm-hmm.
And took me to the corral, and the same thing. Um, Punctured hole in the neck, all the blood was sucked out, and that little surgical slit on the side of them where all the insides was hanging out. And none of that was touched. All it did was suck the blood out of them. And so she had 15 sheep. And let's see, when I went over there, she had showed me I didn't get to see the ram itself, but they did show me a picture of this ram and what it did to this ram and the other sheep that they had in the corral. The legs, you could see where this thing like just ripped off the wool, the skin um, off their leg. And a lot of the sheep that there was maybe I believe 6 or 8 of them that were still alive, but they were badly injured. And
Mm-hmm.
so um, some were running around, so they had bad wounds and with really deep bad cuts and all. And so they showed me the picture of this ram. Like I said, it weighed between 300 to 400 pounds, and whatever they said that it dragged the lamb by the back legs, drug it out of the corral, and it looked like it sat on top of the ram and shoved its head down into the ground. Um, really like I mean, just shoved it in the ground. And same thing, wound on the neck, all the blood was sucked out. There's a cut on the side, all the stuff's hanging out again. And so when they showed me that picture, I was like, oh man. And so they had hauled off, let's see, one, two, that night, three, and dog was killed that night. That was in one night, so 4 animals were killed. And
Mm-hmm.
so later on that afternoon, after they showed me the pictures and stuff, and they did take me to where they had hauled that ram off. So they took me to, and I took pictures of it. And what I found very strange on that, the ram, is when I looked at the face of the ram, there was so much dirt shoved into its nose, like inside, all the way up into its nostrils, about halfway, and then dirt in its mouth. There was dirt in the eyes. Like I said, like it shoved its head down into the ground pretty hard. And not only that, but on the side where what it looked like was, your nail. Okay, so you got this. If I had longer nails here, so it like ripped the skin off the side of the ram, but it
Mm.
left an imprint of a nail in the outside of the hand. Now on the on the like an imprint that was literally, it's almost like it was branded onto that sheep, and the skin was like pulled off. On the edge, it looked like little burn marks. It left like a perfect burn mark, like at the edge of the your hand, and you could see that nail. I'm like, wow, that looks kind of. I've never seen anything like that. And I'm like, oh, what is this? Okay, so that had happened. So it didn't come back for like I've been, checking throughout the month. A couple months, about 2 months goes by, and she called me and she goes, well, um, well, after that first incident with the three that died, the three sheep and the ram and it's a dog, so that was four that died that month. Okay, and after I did my little checking into and checking all the other sheep and all, the ones that were badly injured, they put all of those down, and so she was left with only one sheep out of 15 that she had. So the family that lives next to her, 2 months goes by, in one, let's see, the family that lives across from them on the east side of them lost 25 sheep in one night to the same thing. One night, 25 sheep.
That wouldn't happen to be the hogback incident, would it?
No, this is another one. I
Okay.
know JC did that one,
Right.
but this is another one that I'm talking about here.
Okay.
So this one did 25, and I think the one you're talking about was 30 or 35 sheep that was killed in
There were a
Outback
lot of
area.
them.
Yeah. So this one that I'm talking about was 25, and they live right next door to the lady that I know. Same thing happened to them, and the following year or that later on, another month goes by, another same thing was done to another family. Now,
Right.
I'm gonna say maybe a year or a couple. Let's see. No, I take that back. It's been what, 5, 6, maybe 8 years now that it's whatever this thing is. It came back. It did the same thing again, but in the Shiprock area.
Mm-hmm.
And people were like, what is this? What the heck's going on? And it wasn't not just that family, but there were several other families. The same thing happened. And so, I told same thing, get some light up, and let's see, what we can pick up on camera and stuff like that. And it never came back around. Hasn't come back around not that I know of since then.
I remember when the hogback, that was back in March of 2010.
Hmm.
And JC had told me he counted 24 sheep were mutilated. And he said that the livestock owner said that there were large talon marks, but very little blood, no evisceration at all. And I don't know how long that JC looked into it, but his thoughts to me were that it may actually have been a large bird of some type. Now, I don't know
Yeah,
what kind of evidence.
that's what I think, and that's what I
Yeah.
told the family. Yeah, the only kind of footprint that I found was kind of looked like a horse's hoof.
Okay.
Um, that was the only thing that I could find, but now probably about maybe 600 yards from the one that I was looking at, way more back into the tree lines. I did find a Bigfoot footprint that way,
Hmm.
but more around the corral of the family where they lost the sheep. The print that I found was more like almost like a horse's hoof, and deep scratches on the around the corral.
Wow. Yeah. Folks, if you go to famousomonsters.com on the right hand column, I've got a link there to some of JC's investigations that I reported on. And I've got photographs of the sheep mutilation mystery over at Hogback. So you want to check that out. It's very similar to what you described. These sheep it just looks like something went in there and just sucked the blood right out of every one of them.
Hmm.
It's very eerie. But he did mention to me that he did, that's the first thing he thought at first of all, maybe a Bigfoot was coming in there. But then he said whatever it was had to have been dropped in there like a bird or, and
Yeah.
he just couldn't understand what it was. And I don't think he really did come up with much of an answer.
No.
Interesting. Now, you did mention of canines, upright canines, and possibly dogman. And what type of cases have you worked on or have been aware of involving them?
Just what I've been aware of is up there towards what do you call that? Nappy area where they have the old agriculture place up there where they plant a lot of corn and stuff up that way. There's been a lot of sightings of a huge what they call a dogman that's been running across the road there, and I believe also in the Hogback area. I went and was checking a family somewhere. Bigfoot. They've been having a lot of Bigfoot activity. Back in 2011, I think it was between 10 and 11. I think I went down towards the river at the end of their field to go to see what kind of if I can find any prints or any stuff. It's just stuff like that. And across the river, there's a lot of foliage, really thick brushes and stuff. Excuse me. And I had seen something move, and I'm like, what is that? So I started taking pictures and stuff. And so when I got home, I was looking at the pictures, and in these pictures, it looks like there's something with red eyes in there, and you can see teeth. And the head, it looks like a dog. It really does. It's pretty big. There was 3 images that came up like that, and he said there've been some sightings of what you're calling a dogman that's running around out that way as well.
Mm-hmm.
But not so much as dogman, but more of Bigfoot. It seems to the dogman in that area seems like it has kind of faded out. Probably because of the Bigfoot that's hanging around there, kind of pushed them out. That's what I'm kind of assuming. So, because I haven't heard any more about that one, the dogman in that area.
Hmm. Yeah, I haven't heard of a whole lot about cryptid canines as well. I know JC would kind of bring it up once in a while, but he really didn't mention a whole lot about it. Now I know that the Navajo Rangers had a situation, and I think they did a TV show about it as well, about something in the caves, the red eyes looking out and such. I know you did several TV shows. Can you kind of tell me a bit about what those, what you described on your appearances on television?
Well, the Finding Bigfoot is the one that we come across some small footprints along the river there. A lot of Bigfoot activity in that area. It happens to be in the area where I live. A lot of river crossing, people hearing it yelling, also walking into the people's fields. The same thing out there in the Hawback area. Yeah, just roaming around those areas, and if you're not careful, sometimes they'll walk out in front of you, but not very close, enough to where you can see it. So it really hangs around a whole lot along the river. Seems to stay along the river. I always thought that they would always go back up into the mountain. I'm like, why are they hanging around at the river? So we used to get a lot of deer that would come around, but ever since these things have come in, and we don't see deer around at all. And if we do, they're usually dead. They've been eaten and stuff, ripped up. And so that's one. Finding Bigfoot. The second time that we were on was my son, when he actually came across one with. Well, I'll tell you a story on that one real quick. So,
Sure.
there's a lot of people, skeptic people, always making fun, of people. Yeah, saying all this and that they're not real, and it doesn't have to be just Bigfoot. It could be any kind of cryptid thing that's out there. Oh, you guys are lying and making all of this up. Well, my sister, my niece, her husband was making fun of us, saying all kinds of stuff. So one night, they they showed up at our home here, and he had brought along two young guys, and so they all had their shotguns with them, and so they're like, it was probably about what 9 o'clock, I think it was 9 or 10 o'clock, that they showed up here, and yeah, we want to go down to the river, and can you take us down there? I don't think you guys are just making this up. There's no Bigfoot down there. So I'm like, okay. And so I didn't go down there, but I told my son, I said, take him down there and take him to on the right side, and take him into the field that's very dark. I want you to take him there, and don't shine your flashlight. Every once in a while, just shine it. So, okay, they're all laughing and giggling, right, making fun, and off they went. Now, from where I live, we're probably about maybe less than a quarter mile to the river, so it'll be on the north side of our home. So they take off to the back field, and my son starts taking them back there. I probably took them about maybe 20 minutes to get to the end of the field, way down in there, about 30 minutes, finally total. And all of a sudden they start hearing something. I think it was a slight yell. And so the guy's kind of like, whoa, what was that? So he crosses onto another field heading west. And so they finally get into this area. So he tells the guys, okay, we're going to make our backs to the street. So you guys sit one to the west, east, north, the south. Okay. So they're all sitting tree right behind them. So they're all like circle with their backs on the tree. And so they sat there for probably, I think he said about, must have been about an hour and a half to almost 2 hours. And they started hearing stuff. And so the guys were kind of like getting kind of like, what is that? So right in front of my son, not even maybe 20 yards in front of him, there's a bush here. All of a sudden they hear something, so they're like, what is that? So my son hurried and flashed the light real quick, and they got eye shine, and whatever that thing was, it was on all fours, and it was crawling right towards them. And he jumped up, and the guys jumped like, what is that? Oh, they got scared. I mean,
I bet.
that terrorized them because it was just right there. So when they all jumped up and this thing stood up, they all like looked, and it took off back to the way that they all came in. So the guys didn't know what to do. I mean, they all freaked out. My son didn't, but the three guys that were all making fun and, saying all kinds of stuff, well, they just experienced something, and when they came back to the house, which was probably around 1 o'clock in the morning. Okay, like I said, when they first got to our home, they're all laughing and joking, right? So when they would come back to my house, guess what?
Yeah.
They were quiet, and they didn't know what to say. Their eyes were so big. They were like, something's out there that shouldn't be there. I don't know what the heck that was. So before they came out of there, my son tells them, and they're like, okay, we got to go start heading out. The way that thing ran out is the only way we can get out of here. So the guys are like, what? So they're all freaking like, oh my God. So they had their guns already walking out. And so they start walking out of there. And all of a sudden they see this something black running right towards them. Oh, the guys my son was telling me, because they got so scared. And it wasn't what it was. It was the neighbor's dog, I guess, that scared them. But whatever, was there that was crawling towards them, that was, my son was that was probably a juvenile Bigfoot, which was probably about some like 5'3". So it was probably about maybe 5'5". He said it was really kind of skinny, scraggy looking. It was all black. Like I said, when they finally got back to the house, they were quiet. The two young guys, one was a 17 and a 18, I believe. About a week after that had happened, my sister was telling me, because boy, when those boys got home, they were so terrified. One of the guys, he wouldn't sleep in his room. He was so scared. He ended up sleeping in his mom and dad's room. That's how scared he was. I said, okay, so don't ever make fun of anybody that's experiencing something,
Exactly.
It's easy for anybody to sit behind the computer and start rambling off, oh, you guys are all fake, blah, blah, blah. But what you don't understand is the family, some of them, what they're going through with these creatures that are running around and terrorizing the family. If you could only see for yourself the terror in their eyes, that's something, so you people out there that make fun of people, you just need to stop. One day you're going to be out there and it's going to knock you down, So really be careful, really my advice to you people out there that are critics, be careful what you say. One day it'll come around and bite you in the butt.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to talk to several people that lived on the res. And yeah, it's pretty harrowing, some of the things that they have described. And now, now some of the older folks wouldn't come forward. Some of the younger ones would. I guess they would hear from their elders, or they would, or some things they did experience themselves. But the years I was involved with documenting some of the sightings and stuff, I really learned a lot. We do have a question. We did have a question here from Nancy Malcolm. Is there any history of the people, worshiping or looking at the Bigfoot as a god or something? What do they refer to it as? I mean, is it a spirit, or they do believe it's a natural being, or what are their thoughts overall?
Well, a lot of them on the native side, a lot of them believe that they're evil spirits and that they shouldn't be dealt with. They just need to be left alone. Yeah, that's why we're told in the Navajo culture that you don't bother these things. You leave them alone. If you look at one, you're gonna die in 7 years. Now, this is the reason why when I get a report or they'll call it in to PD, that's why a lot of them won't come and investigate it, because it's a taboo. If you start looking into something, bad's going to happen to you. That's why a lot of them back away and they won't look into it. Now, some people think that other people, they think that they're all, they're good and all, and they're here to protect us and stuff like that. Some believe, every culture and every individual believe differently. So a lot of the Native Americans, they believe that they're evil. Some believe that they are watchers. Some believe that they're here to help, the Native people. And so, like I said, it's all different. Every individual is different in how they believe. It's not just the one belief. So it's all different with different tribes.
Jose Sanchez asked, are Bigfoot, dogman, and other cryptids considered natural enemies?
I would say yes, that they are. Because like I said, there used to be, I would get a lot of dogman reports out towards, the Shipwalk and the Hogback area. But since Bigfoot has come in, it's like they've pushed them out, like, get out of here. This is my area now, I think they are. I believe some of them are enemies, or some of them maybe, who knows, probably get along, in some areas. But I haven't seen them like hanging around close to each other.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, that's kind of what the impression I have gotten. I mean, not just at the Navajo Nation, other places as well. It seems like they do not like being around each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nancy Malcolm asked, and this is in reference to the sheep mutilation, were there any prints around that you noticed? Could dogs have been involved with this?
Okay, so the one that I was investigating, they thought it was a pack of dogs. So they went and killed some dogs, but these were small dogs. And like I said, the footprint that I found, they look more like a horse's hoof, what I've come across. And so when I looked, even inside the corral, again, it looked like horse's hooves that I found inside the corral. But they did kill some dogs. They thought maybe it was the dogs, and these were just puppies that they killed.
Right.
They thought it was a pack of dogs, but I'm like, no, not what I've seen on the that ram, like a hand imprint, with that sharp nail. That's not dog.
No, yeah, some of the photographs that I saw from hogback, that was not dogs. I mean, they would have been ripped apart. I mean, there was just no blood anywhere. It's like you said. I mean, there were a few incisions on the necks, and there was a little bit of blood around the incisions, but it was it's just like it sucked it right out.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting. Very interesting. Huh.
Yeah, but going back to the Bigfoot, that's the second show. That was my son that did that one there.
Okay.
And so, and then which other one did I do? Well, of course, we did the Ghost Adventures.
Right.
That one was based on what my son went through here at home.
Can you
but,
talk about that a bit?
Sure. So there was one night before we moved into our home here, our house that we're building. We stayed in a little, I guess this little trailer, RV trailer. We
Mhm.
stayed there for a while, and my son, I guess he was asleep, and he I felt something that was sitting on him, and he tried to move. He said that it was on top of him, and like it was choking him. Um, what the strange thing is, he came when he got up. I think when it finally released him, if I remember right, he came in the bedroom and woke me up, asked me to come sit with him and pray. But okay, now he didn't describe to me what was on him. Okay,
Mhm.
nothing. I didn't ask what happened or, what's going on. I didn't ask anything of what had happened to him. He just asked me to read some verses with him and sit and talk with him for a few and pray with him. That's all I did. Okay, so I went back to bed, and that was probably about maybe, I think it was about 2 in the morning, I believe. And so when I went back into our little room, then I went to lay down and go back to sleep. Just a few minutes later, I just had this really eerie feeling that something was watching us sleep. And so when I looked, I see what to me what looked like a little boy standing there at the entrance of our doorway, but wouldn't come in. He was just standing there, and he was wearing a blue jeans. He looked like a little boy, blue jeans, and I believe it was a blue plaided shirt. I think it was either blue or red. I think it was blue, and but it didn't have no face. The
Mm.
face was just black, nothing. So when I looked up and I looked there, and what I said was, "In the name of Jesus, just get out of here," and it was gone. Okay, so the next morning when I got up, and my son, he finally got up, and I got up, and I sat and talked to him. I said, I'm going to share something with you. I said, there was a little boy like standing in front of our doorway to the bedroom. I told him what it was wearing, and it didn't have no face. His face just sunk. He's just like, Mom, that thing was on top of me, choking me last night. I couldn't talk, I couldn't scream. It held me down. I tried to move, I couldn't move. And finally, when I said, Jesus, and then that thing left, it was gone because I was so scared. And so, what I described to him is what was on him that night.
Mhm.
And that really scared him. And so, we've had some, like our kids at the time, like I said, we're building this home. And they would come in and kind of play around in here, run around. And they would hear footsteps. They would hear like a little girl sitting in the corner, and they could hear a little girl laughing. And they would always tell me, Mom, there's something in the house. It's moving. We can hear it running around. I'm like, no, there's nothing. I always blew it off.
Mhm.
I thought, oh, they're just kids. And they're just having fun. And so that episode, that was what we did on the Ghost Adventures. That was based off my son, my oldest son. He went through that, and so he shared that on there.
I had
And
to go
if
back
y'all,
and watch it.
yeah, I think it was called the Curse of Upper Fruitland, something like that. A Ghost
Okay.
Adventures. Yeah, so if you guys want to check that
I'll look
out,
for it.
yeah, look for it and watch it because some stuff on there that it's like wow, you'd be surprised. But
Have you had any activity? Has the activity continued at all there?
after they did that episode there, what was strange is it just stopped after they got done
Really?
filming. When they left, Zach had asked me if he wanted to send a priest over. I said no. I can get my at that time I can get my dad here because he's a preacher and he can do the blessing on the land and stuff like that. And we did do
Hmm.
that before, you know, we started building. But our neighbor next door, they've been having the same activity too as well.
Really?
They've been seeing a lot of ghosts and stuff, and they got to talking to my husband. He said, "Well, I got to." He told my husband that the reason why we're having activity here. I mean, we're having a lot of activity here during that time, and some of the stuff that we've seen on our home plot on our property alone is almost like, wow, what are we living on?
Yeah.
So he told my husband, our neighbor next door, that they've been having, seeing ghosts and stuff like that, things tapping on the windows and all. And their little boy one night, I guess, they were coming home. Like I said, they live next door to us. He said, "Yeah, you guys have some gnomes on your yard." Because my little boy seen some gnomes on your yard. I'm like, oh my God, we have gnomes now. And I was like, oh, what else is there?
Yeah.
So he said that he got to talking to, I get asked a lot of people always asking me, what is it that these things are like attracted to your property? What's on there? What happened on your property? I'm like, I don't know. So I guess the guy, like I said, next door, he talked to a medicine man, and he said years ago, probably back in the 30s or 40s, something like that. I guess there used to be a cemetery on here, on the property that we're
Oh,
living on. That's the reason why we're having a lot of activity, and they're having a lot of activity too. So as far as like a graveyard here on our plot, I have never heard of that. I don't know, but it's
yeah.
possible. I don't know, but that's what this guy said. So
Right.
I don't know. Maybe that could explain all this things that we're seeing, like what we call it on camera, what I call a ghost wolf that flies across the camera. And that's strange because I don't have no head, but you can see the legs and the tail.
Is that
And
right?
yeah, and it's on I have a YouTube channel. It's called New Mexico Shadow Seekers. I have some videos on there, some of the investigations that I've done, so you can check those out. This one
I'll have to
I'm talking
look.
to, yeah, that one I'm talking about. I believe it's called Ghost Wolf. I think that's what it was. And then there's something else that looks like it boils up from the ground. Looks like a juvenile Bigfoot that comes up. It's really wild. You're just gonna have to check out that video. That's the video that they used on the Ghost Adventures too, as well.
Okay.
So you could check that out there.
I know
So,
you have
but
had
that
several. I know you have had several photographs that you have released over the years.
mhm,
I remember the one of the Bigfoot that kind of was coming over the hill.
mhm.
Uh, that photograph, and I don't know if it was. I think it was you had taken a photograph of an upright canine type creature near a well. Was that you that did that? That
The well,
maybe not.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Not that one. No.
I was getting I was getting a fair amount of skinwalker reports coming out
Mhm.
of the Navajo Nation. It was mostly younger. Of course, the older people wouldn't talk about it at all,
Right. Oh yeah.
but some of the younger ones would.
Hmm.
And I guess they would talk about either they had an experience or a possible experience, but they would talk about about their grandparents for the most part having experiences. I'm pretty sure that hasn't changed much since then, has
Hmm.
it? I mean, do you
Right.
do
Yeah.
you get a lot of reports
Yeah.
of a skinwalker activity?
I do, but they don't say a whole lot. They just keep it to
Yeah,
themselves.
yeah,
Because they know how to. They a lot of the natives, they know how to deal with that, and a lot of it they tell me it's witchcraft.
yeah.
Don't get into it. So just leave it. So it is true. As they say, be careful with that one because that one can get you. do spells and stuff like that on you, which is true because, like I said, it's witchcraft. So
Yeah.
then they won't bother. You know, a lot of the elders. Oh my gosh, they have so much stories and things that they have seen in their lifetime that sometimes I wish they would, share with us now, the generation now. But they're like, no, you just
I
leave it
know.
alone. That's all we get told is leave it alone. You know,
I
you
know,
shouldn't
and
even be talking about it.
I'm very respectful when I talk to some of the elders, and I have in the past, and no, they are uncomfortable talking about it,
Oh
and
yeah, yes.
occasionally one of their grandchildren or children will come out and say a little bit, but it's very, it's very
It's a
hard to get the full
touchy
story.
subject. Yeah,
Yeah,
just
absolutely,
touchy.
absolutely.
It's just like when the Ghost Adventures, that the crew that came down, I think they did after we did our filming, they did another one with the Skinwalker Canyon. I don't know if
Right.
you've seen that one. Oh boy, they had a lot of heat on that one, and I told the producer because they were talking about it. I said, I'm telling you right now, don't do it. You're going to get a lot of backlash from the native people. Did they believe me? No. But they went ahead and filmed, and they went ahead and
Yeah,
did one on the Skinwalker, and no, the
yeah.
backlash was pretty bad.
That's pretty much what I understood for,
Yeah.
when I got involved with some people that would, they wanted to know more. They would try to talk to people. And I would tell them, I said, no, I've been warned not to do it. And I would advise
Yeah.
you to do it as well.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Mm,
what I tell people. I do. I get a lot of phone calls from LA. They want to talk about Skinwalkers, and I'm
sure.
like, no, no. That is one thing that I really don't want to do because that stuff's real,
Yeah, it's
and
real.
it's real, and it could drive you nuts,
I have heard
you
some
know.
really harrowing tales. I really have.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
absolutely believe it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Brenda, I
It's,
thank you for coming on. Why don't you tell the folks how they can get in contact with you if they've got something they want to discuss with you, and what you
sure.
plan on doing soon. I hope you're getting out there soon again, because
Oh yes, I
I'd
got.
like for you to contact me and let me know what's going on out there.
Oh, I will. I will. I'm going to be doing the one of the one I was telling you earlier about the chickens that were being killed. So I'm going to
Right.
go do some filming over there. Hopefully this weekend. Right now we're going through a storm, snowstorm that's moving through. We got a lot of snow today, kind of a
Okay.
lot of snow, but the weather's been bad pretty much all week. So hopefully this weekend, I hope the weather will be nice where I can get back out and start doing some stuff. I do have some videos that I need to work on um, to get them posted and stuff. Once I get those done, and then I will share with you and let you know what's going on. But people, if you want to get in contact with me, I'm on Facebook, Brenda Harris. You can message me there, or my email address is it's all lowercase Harris Brenda 46 at yahoo.com. Also, I have a team page, New Mexico Shadow Seekers, on Facebook as well. So, a lot of people ask me, how come you haven't posted? Well, due to the, like I said, COVID and stuff, things been to
Yeah.
halt. And then also, what do you call oh, my husband's health.
Right.
So I've been dealing a lot with it.
Well,
So,
I feel for you. My
yeah.
wife passed from colon cancer, and I know
Oh,
I know exactly what you're going through.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sorry to hear that. But,
Yeah.
it's been a roller coaster this past 3 years.
I
I
bet.
tell you what, especially last year, we thought we almost lost him. But he's good now, so just keep us all in
Good.
prayer. And I will be getting back activity on my New Mexico Shadow Seekers Facebook page. So I'll be posting some stuff there here pretty soon, and getting all material ready to get posted. So, but anything comes up, I will be looking for you, Lon, and let you know right away.
Absolutely. I appreciate
Mhm.
that. And is there anything you want me to report on for you or to promote for you? Just let me know.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, can I mention one thing? I
Sure.
will, this year I will be speaking at the Cripple Creek Paranormal Conference, May 19th through the 21st. So I hope y'all can make it. I'm real excited about this. It's going to be pretty awesome. So, um, also, I might be working, maybe doing a little video with the paranormal rangers, which is they were the former Navajo Rangers.
Right.
So hopefully I can get a little investigation going with these guys. So I'm excited to do some work with these guys. It'd be awesome.
Well, that'd be great. And I'm looking forward to hearing from you.
Oh, well, I'll keep you updated on all that stuff.
Okay. Well, you take care, and thanks again for coming on.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you so much for having me on. Thank you so much.
Mhm. You take care. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye.
Now, if you had a sighting or encounter report that you'd like to be considered for the Personal Report Show or for Phantoms and Monsters blog site, you can contact me at Lon Strickler at phantomsandmonsters.com. Now, I want to again thank Brenda Harris for joining me this evening. And thanks to each one of you for watching and chatting. And if you did leave a donation, I very much appreciate it. Now, tonight, Vincent's scheduled show is not going to be on, like I said earlier. That's been canceled. So on Friday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time at 6 p.m. Pacific, investigator, filmmaker, and Phantoms and Monsters Fortean research affiliate Eric Mentel will join me, and he's going to be discussing some recent cases and some upcoming projects that he and his team have planned for 2023. So that should be quite interesting. And then later on that night at 11 p.m. Eastern, Bernadette McDaniel and at A Paranormal Life will have her guest, astrophotographer and experiencer Lily Nova. So make sure you join her for that. So until we meet again, stay safe and stay healthy. Good night.